Wake up, wake up. It's a Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Blake Snell is a Dodger. Oh my God. The 49ers are going to Buffalo where 30-mile-an-hour winds are expected. Oh my goodness. We got a lot to talk about. Warriors go tonight. We go right now.
Wake up, wake up. We are brought to you by Sam's Chowder House, the finest food you're going to find down in Half Moon Bay. And it is great to have you on a week where everybody is thinking about the food we get to enjoy tomorrow night. It is Thanksgiving week. Like Larry said, we got a little Blake Snell, I'm sure, waiting for you at the end of the show. There is a football game that is waiting for the 49ers in upstate New York that just has all sorts of problems written all over it. And in between problems in Buffalo and problems with the San Francisco Giants, Larry, let's be thankful. We're not very thankful for your microphone, which isn't working today. It's why Larry's going over computer audio, which means, haha, I officially sound better than you today, Larry. But it is good to see you. Larry's down at Levi's getting ready. I'm in the home studio. And Larry, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that we have you after a sequence of technical difficulties prevented the show starting from on time today. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning. Hopefully you're not hearing any background noise now. Do you hear any background noise?
Nothing.
We're a day away from Thanksgiving. Damon, I don't know if you know the origins of Thanksgiving, but the first Thanksgiving, they say, was in 1621. And, the European settlers and the Native Americans would get together for a meal that included turkey, pumpkin, potatoes, and cranberries, which are all New England, harvest time of year foods.
Root vegetables.
And also it was to mark the celebration of an abundant harvest. And now look what it's grown into. 60 million boxes of stuffing are sold this weekend alone. $1.1 billion worth of turkey is bought in the U.S. alone during Thanksgiving, and 80 million pounds of cranberries will be bought as well. So it's a great holiday. It's not a religious holiday. And you know what? Every region of the country has their own sides. I mean, you might, see seafood in certain parts of the country, and you're going to have, the South, you'll see oysters in your stuffing and clam
macaroni
juice.
and cheese. Like macaroni and cheese was never part of like my traditional Thanksgiving table, but it's become standard. It's, macaroni and cheese has gotten drafted into the Thanksgiving draft for sure. Look, it is my favorite holiday because it's family, it's football, and it's food. Those are like three of my favorite F's there are. There's really only one more that I really enjoy. So, Larry, it's and
that's fighting, right? You like fighting?
Yes, that's it. Fencing. I love a good sword fight on Thanksgiving. But no, look, this is a great holiday because again, there's
by the way, on that note, not to interrupt.
Sorry,
not to interrupt, but it not only it wasn't a holiday. Until 1863, when Abraham Lincoln made it a national holiday. So now 1863, it has been a holiday since then.
Technically, Larry, I don't want to quibble over details. Thanksgiving is not a holiday. It is acknowledged as a national holiday, but it is a calendar custom more than it is a holiday because Thanksgiving floats. Thanksgiving always falls on the fourth Thursday of November. It's not locked into a specific date like Christmas is always December 25th. That is a holiday. A calendar custom is when see, this is why people watch.
So it's kind of like art, like Groundhog's Day, right?
Exactly. But is that every February 2nd or whatever that is? Or is it every third? I don't know. But anyways, happy Thanksgiving. I think really is the theme.
Easter is not on the same day every year. It's a different day.
What's that?
Easter Sunday rotates as well. It's not on the same day every year. It's not even in the same month every year. Easter
Correct.
Sunday.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. It's a floating day. Like Thanksgiving's always, or no, Halloween's always on the 31st. So it doesn't matter when the 31st is a Saturday. Great. Tuesday doesn't matter. That's still Halloween. So there you go. That's the history. And I got a little Joe Pampliano, who is a business guy, went over the history of the NFL and Thanksgiving. And we'll get there a little bit later on. But I know most people are here to hear what the 49ers have waiting for them in Buffalo. And look, Larry, it just, it's been a week where Niners fans got hit in the face with the sledgehammer of reality that it doesn't look like this season is going to finish anything close to how last season finished. The wheels have officially come off for the Niners in a lot of ways, not just tactically on the field, not just injury-wise, but it feels like their soul is sort of spun out of control. There's an identity crisis going on with the 49ers right now. And when they get to Buffalo, what they have waiting for them is a 9-2 football team that I really think would be able to win this game if they just ran quarterback option. If the only thing the Bills did for 50, 60, 70 football plays was run Josh Allen into the back of his offensive line, I think Buffalo could win running quarterback option only against the 49ers. That's how in trouble I think the 49ers are.
Wow.
And then you look at the fact that we have been forecast snow, wind, extreme cold, freezing temperatures, Lake Erie officially being the 12th man for that defense all game long, an 8:20 p.m. local kickoff time when there could be blinding snow flurries at Highmark Stadium. So the game's going to look great on TV, but to play in it is going to be a nightmare, and to execute in it is almost going to be next to impossible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's when we saw this game on the schedule, when the schedule release came out, we said, oh, are the Niners going to have early season hot weather games or late season cold weather games? And they avoided the early season hot weather games, but this game in Buffalo, it was sitting right there, and you're sitting there going, wait a second, they're going to go to Lambeau. They're going to turn around and go to Buffalo. I mean, how's that going to work? And the reality is it's not going to work. The Bills have won 6 in a row. 5 of them, they've scored 30 points or more. They're holding teams to 19 points. Their quarterback's the MVP of the league right now. They've discovered a number of different weapons. Their defense is coming alive. Yeah, this is going to be, the only thing I would say is the 30-mile-an-hour winds make it about Buffalo's run game against the Niner run game. And it's still probably advantage Buffalo, but the Niners have a 3-headed backfield if they would ever use it.
Yeah,
that I think has potential. And I got to ask Shanahan later this morning or this afternoon when we talk to him, got to ask him the question. It's like, is there a reason that we're not seeing Guerendo or Mason? I think the way I'm going to phrase it is, hey, your personnel department did a great job finding Guerendo and Mason, and they're both averaging over 5 yards a carry. Is there ball security issues that they've demonstrated the reason that they're not playing? And that they're not getting touches?
That's a very professional dancing around the real question type of question. Here's the real question.
I mean, isn't that the real question?
Why have you completely forgotten that you had the NFL's leading rusher when he's healthy and available sitting right there on your bench?
Yeah, but see, that's a little bit more argumentative.
It's very confrontational. It's very confrontational. I know.
How about this? I got this. I got a better one. Hey, Kyle, Mason and Guerendo, what the fuck?
What the fuck, man? What the fucking fuck?
Could you imagine?
Hey, it Kyle, would actually. How about
Kyle, this? Mason and Guerendo, what the fuck?
If you ask that, here's the thing, though. Here's why that really isn't a bad question. Because if you ask that, Kyle would know exactly what your question was, wouldn't he?
He would.
He would. There would be no misinterpretation of, well, is he really trying to pay a compliment to my scouts for finding these guys or anything? No. And the most real
But I
question
do wanna
is,
pay a
what the
compliment.
where is this guy? Where is Jordan Mason? Where is Isaac Guerrero? And why will you refuse to use either of them in this upcoming game when not using either of them in this last game? Just got a boot stick so far up your own ass that you can tell me what the shoelaces taste like.
In the 3 games, Damon, since CMC's return, Mason has 6 carries and Guerrero has 1.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic distribution of responsibilities, of carries. It's you know what? Here's the thing. It's actually indefensible. It really is. I mean, whatever Kyle's reason why he's done this is a reason why now people are talking about how you might not be the right guy for the job, instead of everyone understanding that with all the success you have, you are the right guy for the job. That is how much you have murkied up your own waters, Kyle, with this decision alone.
Should this be part of the question? I'm still writing it down.
Yes, make sure you use the murky water part.
Your career is murky. What if I wrote it down, but wrote it down kind of wrong? Your murky career, I'm
your turkey waters.
Kyle, I've got a question about murky water. What?
All I can tell you is that there is no explaining it. There's no explaining it. There's no explaining it away. And I understand that there is a level of Kyle's understanding of football that makes me a rudimentary reader. Like, this guy's reading at a high school level. I am in kindergarten when it comes to talking about football. But I'm fucking right about this, and he's wrong. I mean, I don't care who his fucking daddy is or how long he's been an NFL head coach. Not using Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero is an incorrect, wrong, stubborn move born out of what?
Can I correct Callie Young here, Damon? He says, funny how Larry isn't bashing Guerrero anymore. Callie, you didn't hear me correctly. I just said he's not a running back. And he's not a natural running back. He really isn't. He's an athlete.
I mean, look at it this way. Recent usage would suggest Kyle's very much in Larry's camp. Right? I mean,
beyond the usage, I like Guerrero, but let's say what he is. He is an explosive athlete who's really raw. But I mean, to me, I think that has to be the reason. And at least I kind of want to give Kyle, like, if you want to go there, then go there. But if you're not going to go there, because right now it's like the only thing logically that I could say. The other thing I was thinking about saying is, hey, Kyle, how you doing? I'm Larry Krueger. I do a show on YouTube and on the radio, and I get this question a lot. And I'm just kind of wondering what you would like me to say next time I get it. Where's Guerrero? Where's Mason? Why isn't Kyle using those guys? Kyle, I get this question a lot. Could you provide some clarification? I've just been saying that I think maybe their lack of ball security is an issue. Otherwise, I don't understand why they're not playing. Why aren't they playing, Kyle?
You got a lack of ball security in the other guy, though, in Christian McCaffrey right now.
Well,
so
yeah, exactly. He fumbled last week.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't know if I call it a lack of ball security, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's nothing that Christian McCaffrey has done so definitively that some of Christian McCaffrey should have equaled none of these other guys. Like, it's good to have McCaffrey back, but this is not Walter Payton again, okay? This is just Christian McCaffrey has been a below average NFL running back since returning from bilateral Achilles tendonitis. He is no longer Christian McCaffrey, reigning offensive player of the year. He is just an NFL running back. So you might as well use the NFL running back who was just leading the NFL in rushing yards, while the other guy works himself back into shape, into his old form, if he can ever even get there again. I don't know. It's so funny how the most amount of Pro Bowlers and most talented roster in football has disintegrated into what we're looking at just 10 months from being correct in those evaluations. Most amount of Pro Bowlers, deepest, most talented roster in the entire sport, And now the 49ers have rendered themselves a shallow, sputtering, going in the wrong direction football team with depth issues that seem to be created from not just injuries and availability, but head coaching choices. Head coaching choices. And it's really hard to understand. It's really hard to understand. I don't think it's really defensible.
Let me share the screen on this one. Kev had this yesterday. This guy, Benjamin Solak, put this out.
I saw this. It's fascinating.
You see this?
Yes.
It's looking at CMC's tracking data from Next Gen Stats. And basically, he has not hit top speed yet this season equal to his worst game from last season.
Right.
And that was the calf injury against the Commanders notwithstanding. So there are people out there that are telling you CMC has not lost a step. Deebo Samuel has not lost a step. But it's pretty clear that both have. And to me, this is almost like data proof that our eyes are not deceiving us.
Well, and Larry,
CMC is 2 yards. CMC Damon's running for 2 yards a carry, and Mason or 3 yards a carry, and Mason's going for five a carry. Garendo's going for 6 a carry. But this shows you that even the fastest that CMC's been this year is quite a bit slower than the slowest he was a year ago.
Right.
It almost proves the point, doesn't it?
His top speed this year is worse than his slowest game last year.
Right.
And that's not a good sign, but it's also understandable, with all the layoff and, whatever a bilateral Achilles tendonitis is supposed to do, it's had an effect on the man's body for sure. We didn't think that he was going to be impervious to that, did we? Of course not. No. So there was going to be a little bit of drop off, which then brings us back to the question of the murky waters that you're about to ask today, Larry.
Are you on? You're on 10. Okay.
Is that Greg Papa?
You didn't know we had a studio there?
No, I didn't know, but I can be over here. Yeah. Greg Papa just walked in. Damon, look at this.
I want to say happy Thanksgiving to On Mine Papa. Hello, Papa.
Okay. He's going to check in. We're in his studio where he's starting at 10.
All right. Well, then I guess we're officially on the shot clock then, Larry.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you give Brandon Allen a start again in this game? To me, this has got Josh Jacobs written all over it. I don't even know how much you're going to be throwing the ball, so I would want the more mobile quarterback. I would start Josh Jacobs in Buffalo, and that's probably not going to happen either because I think that makes too much sense. Why go back to Brandon Allen in what could be 30-mile-an-hour winds when you wouldn't want Joe Montana to be throwing the ball?
Yeah, exactly. Let me make the switch so G Pop can do his show in here because he's going to start at 10. Yeah, I don't want to, because you might want to talk to your producer and all that kind of stuff. No, not at all. So we're going to look at this.
These
mobility,
these incredibly large and
carry this. Look at this.
What's up?
There he is,
Papa. I miss you, man.
I'm moving, man. I'm moving Larry's stuff.
That's all right. I understand.
Out of here. I feel badly.
That's okay. We'll forgive you. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, brother.
I'm going for Thanksgiving home.
You are going home.
I can't remember the last time I've been to Buffalo for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
It's been Christmas. My schedule kind of doesn't allow that. So,
Pop, do you still got family
to get there for Thanksgiving dinner at night? So,
how much family do you still have back in upstate?
Well, this is tough. So I haven't been back to Buffalo since I lost my mom, May 19th of 2022. So it'll be emotional. My brother's there. My sister's there. We got family, a lot of great friends from growing up. But this one's going to be hard because I lost my dad just before I started with the Niners in 19 and then just lost my mom in May of 22. So I haven't been back since. So,
well, I'm so sorry to hear
that. Without Mom and Papa there waiting for me.
30-mile-an-hour winds, they're saying.
That's nothing. That's a 4th of July in Buffalo. Nothing.
Wind chill in the teens. Wind chill in the
we grew up
single digits.
We grew up wind chill -6. No big deal.
I don't even have to ask you, Greg. I know the answer is yes. Did you used to shovel your own driveway wearing shorts?
Shorts? Hell no.
Like I used to,
You know,
wear
we had my dad had a Jeep with a snowplow. We had snowplows. We had two
Nice.
snowmobiles sitting outside of the front door, and we
Oh,
had a
that's
snowplow. That's
in
we're
upstate New
talking
York.
Buffalo, and we didn't live in the southern tier. But the stadium is the southern tier, and they get a lot of times in downtown Buffalo, it'll get an inch, and then the southern tier will get 2 feet. So that's
Yeah.
the snow belt is right where that stadium is. But hell no, I'm not going out. I didn't even have shorts in Buffalo. We didn't have a 4th of July weekend.
I guess it was a little tamer down in Schenectady where I was growing up. We
well,
didn't quite have the
Skinny
Lake Erie
Atlas.
effect.
I know Skinny Atlas.
That's for Damon.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We got
Hey,
Craig here.
Papa, hey, give my best to Derek.
Let's get Craig's quick thought on what we may see from the team on Sunday, because I know it's obviously this is a tough part of the year. I don't know if we're going to see Purdy yet. We're going to find out later today what his status is. But what are your thoughts on what?
Well, obviously Buffalo's a great football team. The Niners have 5 Super Bowl championships, and my Bills have been tormented going 4 straight years to the Super Bowl not winning. They did win in the AF. Cherish those championships, but they love football there. So this team is off their bye. It's unbelievable. We got four games this year, and the Bears are playing on Thanksgiving. So they're gonna have a mini bye. So it's just a minus 22 rest differential. Is I don't know why they don't try to get it closer to 0 for everybody. I know making the schedule is hard, but it's not like making an MLB schedule or NBA or NHL. There's got to be a way to make it more equitable. But it is what it is. They're a great football team. That quarterback, and I think that was the driving force in Kyle going to get Trey Lance.
That throw over Fred Warner on the night game, that laser down the field.
December the 7th, I remember. There was so
amazing
many
throw.
He made rolling to his right that night where you thought he is running out of bounds and he's throwing the ball away, and he would somehow make a jump shot, jumping into the sideline, and he kept the ball in the field of play. That is physically impossible for almost every other quarterback or anybody throwing a football on earth to do, is to roll that way and then keep it back. And there's Gabe Davis. So he had it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, who is this guy? He is just so big and strong. He's from Fireball. So we know the Fireballer.
Fan, right? He
had a Joe Montana jersey when he was a kid. But the thing that sets him up is you go to that stadium, and it could be any time of the year, but certainly on the first night of December with an 8:20 kickoff. The wind, we'll see about snow, and it all depends on the lake effect and just where the clouds are that particular day.
Did you hear Murph this morning? Murph said that they're describing it as Sunday is going to be a significant weather event.
I grew up in Buffalo, bro. We have a significant weather event the entire
That's
Halloween until tax day. It also, depending how the winds blow, it could miss the stadium. I mean, it's a lake effect snow. Anyway, you need a big, strong arm quarterback to play in that stadium. Jim Kelly had a good arm. This guy has a hose, and he played at Wyoming. He's got big hands. I've never seen him throw a ball in that wind where the ball has been taken by the wind. I mean, that's hard. Remember the great Dan Fouts, the playoff game in the ice cooler in Cincinnati? He checked the screen down to James Brooks, and the ball just took off like a paper airplane. It was like, what's going on? Josh Allen does not have that problem, which leads to, and we'll know more today, as you said, with Brock. I am concerned about Brock and the elements there. I'd much rather have it be snow than rain. But a night game, being able to grip that ball, that's why Tom Brady took the PSI out of the football. It's hard to grip. Those are like marbles or bowling balls. It's hard. And Brock, if he has any deficiencies as a quarterback, he's 6 feet 5'8", 7 inch tall, and his hands are small. And I've seen him have trouble, certainly in Cleveland. That was a rain game on the shores of Lake Erie, and going back here to the southern shores of Lake Erie in Buffalo, the wind. It's hard to control the football.
It's going to be a run game because of the wind.
Well, and that's the thing. But if Buffalo has one defensive weakness, you can run on them.
Yeah.
Hey, Papa, can I get
about Green Bay?
Can I get a question in here for Papa?
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
How come Mason?
I took over your whole show. I feel bad. I don't want to.
I love it. Come on, we finally got a pro on here.
Larry out here? Hold on, we got to see. What are we not seeing, Larry? Here
we go.
Why are Mason and Garendo forgotten men the last 3 weeks of football?
Because Christian's just too good.
But he's not.
I understand. He's playing fine. They're not blocking for him. It's just not the same. They're not getting pushed in the O-line. He's about a half a yard before he gets contacted. He looks the same to me. The fumble was bad. The play that bothered me the most was the blitz pickup on Lucas Van Ness. There wasn't even a blitz because Van Ness is an end on the play that Brandon Allen fumbled the ball when Van Ness hit him with the helmet and the ball came out. Christian came across the formation, and it may have been the wrong cleats and just not footwork, but I've never seen Christian. He's great at everything. Blocking is certainly one of them. I've never seen him get knocked on his ass like that. That was just like, whoa. And then the very next play, he takes that screen, the block by Jennings, and they got Jalen Moore out in the tunnel screen, and he fumbled the ball. So it's just not like him. And I know he's beating himself up. The thing with him, a lot of the plays, the Niners have not 2 play calls. They a lot of times they call 3 plays, and you hear the can. You could be going from play 1 to play 3. If you do check from a run play to a pass play, you want McCaffrey on the field. He's just, I understand his running backs, JP's done well, and Garendo's was starting to do really well that Dallas game. But if you are going to get out of a run and they're loading the box, you want McCaffrey on the field. He's just the ultimate chess piece. There's no scenario where you don't want McCaffrey on the field. First down, second down, third down, fourth down. He's better. It hasn't turned that way production-wise, getting in the end zone. I don't think they're blocking for him. But what I would like to see him do, we saw Green Bay do it a lot, is use, whether it's pony personnel or jet personnel, or, you put 2 halfbacks on the field together. And a way to soften the box a little bit for Christian would be to move him out of the box and have Mason line up or have them both go out. I mean, Green Bay did it all day. They had number 30, Brooks, the other back in, blocking for Josh Jacobs. They had Emmanuel Wilson, 31. They had a lot of snaps where they had 2 halfbacks on the field. So I think there is a way to be creative there. But then you're also taking Juszczyk off the field, or a third wide receiver like Ricky Pearsall. You're not going to take George off. So there's a trade-off there. It's kind of like Steph Curry. People complain when he's off the court too much. You were complaining because McCaffrey's on the field too much. I understand the production's fine. You'd have to see the GPS tracking. They have the catapult system on the guys during the game. I don't think he's running. When I watch practice, he looks the same. He's not running any slower. I just don't think they're blocking.
I think we just saw a graphic that shows that his fastest game this year hasn't even eclipsed his slowest game from last year. I think he has slowed down. That's my whole point on Mason is
when has he had top speed? When has he been able to?
So this is the graphic that we just talked about, where his fastest time last year is his slowest time last year is faster than his fastest time thus far this year. So
but look, and it's McCaffrey.
What's the top miles per hour he's hit this year? This is all the red line here?
He's
not getting up to speed because he's not hitting the second.
The red line's the average speed, and the blue line is max.
Oh, got it. Where's this year from last year?
So you've got, let's see.
So the bottom line is this is showing quantifiably that his speed is down.
Yeah.
But does he have?
This is the tweet from the guy. He says, looking at Christian McCaffrey's tracking from Next Gen Stats, he hasn't hit top speed yet this season.
But has he had the
worst game?
Has he had the ability to hit top speed? What did he hit on the 23-yard screen?
Yeah,
that's the one time when he had straight line speed.
And I kind of agree with Greg, Damon, that like to my eye, it doesn't look different. And I do trust my eye.
Well, I also think he's throttling down and being patient to find the hole. When he runs that, 18 toss or 19 toss, they're stringing it out where he can't turn the corner and get downhill, where he's trying to find a hole. So in that situation, you have to be a little slower and more patient. So
I also think teams have defended the run well.
Debo can't get loose. So it's the same problem with getting Debo going.
What is the problem on the offensive line? The one thing that stood out to me when I watched it upon the rewatch, I saw Banks struggled in the second half with Carl Brooks. Carl Brooks really got inside and moved Banks and beat him with quickness, beat him with power. That was the one thing that stood out.
Well, I think, and then flashing forward to this game, Buffalo, if they have one weakness on their team, it's you can run on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we thought the same thing with Green Bay. I mean, why does Kyle own Matt LaFleur in the playoffs? They just trample him, whether it's the Mostert game and the championship game of 19, or they just run it on him, and they took the run away. But, Buffalo's got Epinesa and Rousseau on the outside. Ed Oliver's a big guy inside. We'll see if Matt Milano plays in this game.
Yeah.
And that'd be a huge matchup. There are a few, if any, linebackers, including Fred Warner, that can run with Christian, even with his obvious diminished speed, which that Graff's still trying to figure out all those lines. Looks like barometric pressure going to Buffalo. I'm more worried about the win.
Yeah.
Anyway, if Milano plays, now Milano's a lighter guy.
Right.
So he's so fast. And the matchup with him and McCaffrey on all those choice routes, the Texas routes, or Kittle over the middle, that'll be as good as it gets. But what does Milano weigh? You can run on Matt Milano if he's in the game.
Yeah, 245.
Or maybe even lighter. I got to look at it. But 58's a light guy. So I hear you. I mean, the bottom line, if they don't run the ball better, and if they don't stop the run, they're not beating anybody. And whether it's Buffalo or Chicago or anybody, the Rams, I mean, what happened to them at Green Bay is what they've been doing to teams the last 5 years, which is just trampling them. And they can't get run on like that. And Buffalo's got a good back. James Cook, the main change with them is the new offensive coordinator there, Joe Brady, is that they're running the ball more. They run it all the time. It's like Josh keeps handing off, where before they'd run it just to, knock you off the trail. They were a drop back team. And then the quarterback's also involved in the run game. So they've got to get off blocks. They got to tackle better. And then, I mean, everybody's down on Kyle in the play calls, and it's all debatable. But to me, it's still a game of blocking and tackling. If you don't block, if you don't shed blocks on defense, and if you don't tackle, you're going to get trampled. And they just got out. The run lanes, the run fits integrity was terrible. A lot of the missed tackles were because you were taking one-on-one or half a body tackles. The only way to get a guy like Josh Jacobs on the ground is to in and out him. You got to swarm him with multiple guys. Like the second play of the game, and they ran the orbit motion with Jaden Reed, and they brought Kraft across, and we slanted the front, and Campbell, I think, jumped in the wrong gap. And then your Jair Brown sitting there at 8 yards with number 8, the grade 8, Josh Jacobs, screaming downhill with a running start. How are you going to tackle that guy? Right. He spins right off the first hit. So it's all got to be pieced together. But it's the essence, no matter what the weather is, and the wind will be a factor in the pass game. But you gotta block better, you gotta shed blocks better, and you gotta tackle better.
Who's been your favorite rook, Pop? Who's been your favorite rookie on this team this year? It has been, we're looking for, signs of life on this team now, and we're looking for, I don't know if the year is going to go where we wanted it to. So little nuggets, if you can take that forward with you. I love Malik Mustafa. I know Pooney didn't have a great game. He's having a phenomenal rookie year. Who's been your favorite rookie so far this year?
Well, I think the rookie of the year on this team, and Bernardo Green was playing well. The last couple of games they've gone at him. Seattle, he was playing too soft and off. And then this last game, Romeo Dobbs just cooked him. There were a couple of third downs.
Crosser in the middle of the field.
And where he just beat him. He beat him. I mean, it's hard. He's a hard cover, and he got beat. So they've all been. Malik, obviously, is a big hitter. But to me, the clear rookie of the year is Dominic Cooney. To be able to plug and play like that at right guard, where would this team be? Feliciano's not been able to come back from this knee injury, which is a blow to him and the team. And he talked about this being his last year. So, his career may have ended in the Super Bowl. And then Burford came in behind him. If you didn't have Dominic Cooney, you're talking about the run blocking, and it'd be a lot worse. So Dominic Cooney, he had a tough game. It's also hard in that stadium, and that's why in Buffalo it's even louder. He's the one that triggers the silent count on the road. The right guard is the one that looks back to Brock or Brandon Allen for the lift of the leg, and then he hits the center, Brendel, and then Brendel snaps it. That's a lot to ask. I remember going to Minnesota, first road game of the year. I'm like, the rookie guard's got to be the trigger. Can't Aaron Banks do it? It's just another thing where you're looking back, and then, you turn, and then now you got to block Ed Oliver or Kenny Clark or someone. It's hard. Right. So he had, they were back-to-back bad. He had 3 bad plays in the game, the 2 false starts, the hold. He hasn't really taken a penalty all year. There was some debate whether he should get the 1 sack or not, and that was kind of a move play. I think overall, Dominic Cooney, and you got a lot. I'd like to see Ricky get going, obviously more, not to target him the last game. He looked so good running back punts and catching punts. But it's been Dominic Cooney. There's no doubt.
What about the Saubert hold?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like Saubert grabbed the chest plate and had 2 hands on it. But usually, if your hands are in and your elbows are out,
and you're pancaking the guy,
and you're literally driving him down, usually you don't get that. You get that call as the blocker.
Well,
especially if your hands are in. Where you don't get it is your hands go out or up top.
Right. Yeah. If you keep it inside the framework of the shoulder. Yeah.
If it's in the chest plate, usually they give it to you.
I didn't like the call. It was funny because I'm calling the game and Tim Ryan went off, calling it a garbage call.
Right,
and he's
right.
going off. And then our statistician, the guy, sometimes you see it on the video, the big guy in the middle of us is Chris Babcock,
Great guy.
who
We had
was
him on
the
show
football
last week.
coach at Monte Vista, a good friend of mine. He and Craig Bergman,
Yeah.
who played college ball with Tolbert. And
Yeah.
I went and broadcasted those games when Zach Ertz was playing there and Brent Jones was coaching, and I got to know him well. My kids all went there. So
Your kids all went to Monte Vista?
yeah, well, my son transferred to De La Salle. My daughters all went there and cheered, and so I went to every game. So anyway, I'd stand on the sideline to watch the Monte Vista play with Babs. Anyway, Babs knows football. Babs a coach. Babs is our ears and our eyes a lot. He turned to Tim on that play and said it was a hold, and Tim went crazy. I thought he was going to choke him. He was like all day long. That's all I heard was, I'm like, stop it, move on. I don't know if you guys saw it. You got to fair anymore. But that was a big play. But then I turned to Brian Baldinger to my left because he's doing the game on Compass Media, and he's mouthing to me, textbook block. He's like, get his arm. He's like, I put him down. He's like, I'm going to go block. He's going to. And we heard what John Lynch said this week. It's teach tape. That's the way they teach them to block. So really the reality is it got called that way. But when you get out there, whether it's Brian Schneider or it's Chris Furster, and you're talking about how to block, that's the way. Don't change a thing. So I'm going to do it the same way the next time. But how would that have changed the game if they allowed them to have that 87-yard return?
Oh, it would have been huge.
It's first and goal to go. It can flip the whole game. So
Yeah.
Hey, we got to let Greg.
I gotta go.
Greg's
anything else you need moved at all?
Yeah, I'll
Anything
grab
else?
my jacket.
You got a butterball turkey over there?
You got
Great to see you,
Damon,
Papa.
you got one last thing to sign off to Greg.
All I have to say is, Greg, the happiest of Thanksgiving to you and your entire family, brother. Thank you.
Brother. Love you.
Love you too.
I'll be right
There
back.
he is.
I'll bring it. Do your show. Do your show.
Well, there you go. The voice of the Niners stops by on the wake up. How about that?
You know, Larry, that wasn't just a cameo. That was a full-on 2-segment appearance from Greg Papa, a 2-studio appearance. It looks like he picked up the laptop. He helped you move.
He's
That was
bringing my
great.
stuff in now. He's about ready to hand me my stuff.
By the way,
Look at that.
you know,
Yes, I
Rob,
got the voice of the 49ers. Yeah.
Sure,
oh,
sir.
there you go.
Look at that. Look at that.
How long was I on for? 15. I want you guys on my show 15 minutes. We got to take a break.
Thanks, Greg.
Happy Thanksgiving, boys.
Thank you.
Happy
You too.
Thanksgiving. Yeah,
All
I
right.
tell you what, tell Greg.
Very cool.
Greg needs to tell Mike Holler that he wants me on the show in 15 minutes. Let's see how that goes.
Mike, Lee Hammer says no.
Lee Hammer says no. By the way, how about this? Rob C. thought you needed some new lighting here, Larry.
Mark Shanahan's playbooks in that backpack, by the way.
Seriously,
Playable expander.
I do weightlifting with that thing.
How much stuff did you bring with you? By the way, Rob C-Note is paying for a whole new rig for you here, Larry. This is on your side.
What?
Rob C-Note has come in with $100 super
I
chat.
just got here. He's like,
Lighting.
what the hell? Never mind. I thought Larry got new lighting. I see what happened now.
There you go. You're down at Levi's, Larry, and it's Rob
Is
C-Note.
Rob C donating 104.50 because he wants new lighting? Is that what he's saying? Or
He's 104.5 for the bone. I don't. Maybe that's for Lamont Canelli. I don't know, but there you go. Whenever Rob C sprinkles it on you, you're having a good day. So it's nice. Very, very nice, Rob.
well, I think it's kind of cool that the audience got kind of a little up close there with the voice of the Niners. And you know, I mean, you got a little preview of like what Shanahan would say if I asked him about Garendo and Mason. It's like he's going to be like, CMC's the best we got, blah blah blah. But
Well, you know, but here's the thing: we understand that, we get it. But in any way we're measuring football players against each other in this year that we're actually playing, and reputations don't matter as much as production. Jordan Mason has done more for the San Francisco 49ers this season than Christian McCaffrey has. So, you know, if you can tell me that Christian McCaffrey will show up magically as I remember him, yeah, 40
be the
fucking
guy at
carries.
home.
Right. But in the meantime, I'll take the guy that was actually doing it, and let's not just abandon him either. I mean, these are guys you're going to want to go forward with. If I were Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero, I would have both my agents get me to another football team as fast as humanly possible based on the way they have been forgotten in the last 3 weeks, as the Niners have played 3 of their worst weeks of football we've seen.
I wonder if it has a lot to do, Damon, with whatever makes McCaffrey tick or go as a guy, because this team has had 3-headed monsters at running back. They had no problem using Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, and they had the early years of the Shanahan and Lynch regime. They routinely used a collection of backs. So I wonder if it has more to do with Christian and what his sensibilities are, because man, it's crazy. I mean, you got if you ever have a running back that's averaging 5 yards a carry, you have to get him more touches and drive that number down, or he's a star. You either have a star or that number's coming way down. But you got to hand him the ball until that number comes down, or what are you doing, right? If you got a back that's going for 5 yards a carry, that's Mason right now. You give him the ball. You got a back running for 6 yards a carry like Guerrero. You give him the ball. Now, Guerendo's going to go 1 yard, 1 yard, 1 yard, 80 yards. But so what? He's not going 80 yards if he doesn't get the 4 carries. He's going to run into a wall 3 times. But that 4th time, he's going to bust it for 65. And they need that big playability, especially in 30-mile-an-hour winds in Buffalo. I think they have one chance to win on Sunday. Be +2 on the turnover table and run for 2 Bills with 40 carries. If they run for 200 yards and 40 carries and they're +2 on the turnover margin, they can win in Buffalo against the MVP of the league. But that's what it's going to take. So I'm a little skeptical whether they even will show up in Buffalo with a winning game plan. Let's just say that.
Look at it this way. If Brock Purdy cannot go, and you see the decision once again is Brandon Allen to start, the game's over in that decision alone. This game's over before they even get on the airplane. The Buffalo's.
You don't like Brandon Allen. You want it. You want Dobbs, right?
I don't like Brandon Allen. I don't like Brandon Allen in the situation. To me, I would want Josh Dobbs to carry the ball 10 to 15 times. I'm running quarterback option, QB keepers, naked bootlegs. I'm making Josh Dobbs have options to make plays in space with his feet, where Brandon Allen is he's a statue. He's a statue. And you need a mobile quarterback if you cannot throw the ball because the wind is blowing sideways and you can't even see your targets because there's such a severe wind and you're snow blind. If that's real, I mean, if they're going to be playing in a blizzard, I don't need a statue backup quarterback. I need an athlete.
Okay, listen to this, Damon. Listen to this one. I'm going to share the screen. Our good buddy, Chase Sr. I almost feel like it's a Friday because I'm down here, but it's actually a Wednesday. Just the schedule was such that I couldn't drive between the end of our show and down here. But here's Chase on his chat sports. He's actually cut a video on his that's on his Twitter. Listen to this. Tell me what you think.
So there's supposed to be a lot of snow in the forecast for the Niners Sunday night game on the road against the Buffalo Bills. The Niners are already at a disadvantage, being banged up with the way that they're playing right now. And they're from Northern California. The Bills are used to playing in inclement weather. And I'm thinking about this game. If there is a significant amount of snow when Kyle Shanahan decides to start the statue, Brandon Allen over Joshua Dobbs, if Brock Purdy can't play, that is coaching malpractice behind this offensive line. You're going to need to run it.
I'm getting like every other word out of what he's saying. I'm not getting much of the video, Larry.
Between Shanahan and Allen.
What's that?
So it was on my end anyways, it wasn't coming through. I only heard like every other word he said right there. It was garbled, but he basically said what I just said. Okay. If you start Brandon Allen in bad weather in Buffalo, you deserve everything you get as a head coach. You deserve to get your teeth stomped in an embarrassing fashion while the entire nation is watching you because we love weather games.
I just don't know if it makes a big difference.
I mean, I'd be open to seeing both, to be honest, because I don't know that it makes a big difference. I mean, personally, I'd rather. I think, and you know what I think. I think Tanner Mordecai is better than those guys. We got this one. Rory McPherson says Tanner Mordecai shake things up. I think Mordecai's better than those guys. I think he's faster
I mean, do
than
we think?
Dobbs. I
Here's
think
the
he's
thing.
got a better arm than both.
The only argument that you could possibly have for Tanner Mordecai being the guy is that we just don't know. You know, the other guys we know some things. Tanner Mordecai is total unknown.
Brock Purdy got thrown in there as a rookie in week 13, and he looked pretty good. I'm just saying it's not. Well, let's just say this. You saw Brandon Allen. Are you fearful that Tanner Mordecai would have been worse? Because I'm not.
No, and I'm certainly not guaranteeing that Josh Dobbs would be any better. It's not like Josh Dobbs is the answer to all the 49ers problems right now, but I just think that he is just, if we're looking at, fundamentally, what do you need to win this game? You need a ground game to win this game. And I think Josh Dobbs opens up more ground game dynamics than Brandon Allen possibly can. So that's why I would go in that direction. I said the same thing last week, by the way. The minute we found out that Trent Williams wasn't going in Green Bay, I'm like, well, then you want to go with Josh Dobbs, don't you?
Should Niner fans be hoping that Brock Purdy plays or doesn't play? And here's what I'm asking. Is it better for the Niners if you have this as a loss? And I do. I have it as a loss. I mean, I give them a 5% chance of winning. I just laid it out there. If they run for 2 bills, they dominate time of possession, they get a couple turnovers, they could win. But that's a lot of ifs. Would you rather play Purdy in this game and go for it, or would you rather go with your backup in this game, try to get Purdy healthy and try to get a full, rested, healthy, 100% healthy Purdy in more of the winnable games? Chicago, Arizona, Rams, Miami, basically the rest of the games except for the Detroit. This game and the Detroit game look like almost scheduled losses at this point, the way the Niners are playing. Would it be better in the Niners' best interest to not have Brock play this game because they're going to lose anyway, not have him subjected to big-time hits in the freezing cold and bust him out next week against Chicago? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the best solution is. I mean, if he can play, he's going to play, obviously. But I kind of wonder, do you really think if Brock played last week, the Niners were beating Green Bay? I don't. And I don't think that if he plays this week, I don't think they're beating Buffalo. So
the question between do you want your starting quarterback, yes or no, is never a question to me. Yes, you want your starting quarterback. And I understand.
But you have to win games. He could get knocked out in this game and then it's over.
Well, but that could happen in any game. That there's no opponent, there's no scenario where that doesn't hang over the entire season or game.
But this game is going to be a Bills team that's scoring 30 a game and giving up 19 and has won 6 in a row.
Well, then it really sounds like you need your starting quarterback. I mean, well, here's the thing. If you're going
to what I'm saying is you're going to lose either way. You're going to lose.
All right. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to give that guy $60 million, he's fucking playing, dude. That's it. I mean, that's it. I think that, what you're thinking a little bit more like a GM here. You're talking about asset protection. A coach plays the starting quarterback.
No, I'm talking about trying to get the most wins in the final, 5 games, 6 games? They just get the most wins. What's going to get you the most wins? I don't think you're winning this game either way. So I think I would rather try to gear up everybody who's not ready, gear up for Chicago. This is a loss. This is a scheduled defeat. I don't want to waste.
Look, guy right here saying big picture, Damon. Ragnar saying big picture. There is no big picture anymore. It's just a sequence of little pictures that you need to have success in right now. The 49ers painted themselves into a corner of you better win out. So without a win in Buffalo, winning out after that, I don't think even gets you anywhere. So you need to win out from here right now, and it's not going to happen. So, yeah, you might as well bench everybody. Might as well, why play George Kittle another down? I'd start saving him for week 1 next year, right? I mean, if you're going to think like that.
But you're still going for it this year. But it's just a matter of, can you win this game? Are you going to win this game? No. So it's like, why, if you've got a quarterback that's not quite 100%, why not get him ready for the game that you potentially could win the next week? You play Brock Purdy at less than 100% behind this line, the way they're not blocking. I mean, you heard Greg say it. I mean, they can't block in the run game right now, so they have no run game. So if you can't run, you're going to have a hard time passing. There's going to be a ton of pressure on the quarterback. It's not up to me. I mean, you brought up the money. I don't think it has anything to do with the money. I mean, it's just about trying to be prudent with your players and, being smart about where you're going this year and what it really looks like. And also,
if we're really talking about what's the best thing going forward.
If the guy can't throw, it's like, why put him in there?
Look, if there's shoulder injury, then yes, you sit him because you don't want that to be further exacerbated. If you're really talking about what's best for the future is the Niners don't win another football game and you got a top 10 pick. That's what's best for the future. This is a season that's going nowhere.
That's what whatchamacallit wants. Middlecoff wants the Niners to tank. How about that? He's like, tank for draft position. And Coward's like, they're done. They need significant franchise. I think Coward said the Niners need a franchise reset.
They need a reboot.
Middlecoff said they need to lose all the games to try to get a top 10 pick.
Yeah. I mean, if you're really talking about what is best for, if here in 2024, we're already starting talking about what's best for 2025, don't play Kittle another game. How about this? All you need to do is bench Kittle. You're not winning another game. That's it. George Kittle is the only dude who showed up to play football this season. And if you benched him, the 49ers, by almost definition, would not win another game. They can't score in the red zone with George Kittle. So without him, it's nothing but field goals from here to the fucking draft. And I mean, that's really the way to do it. But of course, no team operates like that in the NFL. That's not going to happen. So that's, Middlecoff said, I love John Middlecoff, but no one's doing that. The 49ers are going to go to Buffalo to try to win the game.
He's not saying they're doing that. He's saying that's what they should do. He's not saying they're doing it. He's saying that's what they should do. But I don't agree with them. I've looked at the draft. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Whether you're picking 9 or 19, I mean, I know obviously the higher pick is obviously better than the lower pick, but I'm telling you, it doesn't matter.
No matter where you pick, you got to make sure you pick a guy that actually plays, not a Ricky Pearsall. We're in week 13 the following year, and we don't even know if you're an NFL player, dude. Like,
hey, he's been shot. He was shot. Be careful, Come on, man. He was shot.
Well, and look, and I'm so happy that he is fully recovered. So now we can just talk about him through the prism of how does he play football, and the answer is not well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've heard other people tell me that Ricky's getting separation. He's not getting the ball.
Well, hold on. So I got a little something to show you. Speaking of separation sensations, let me show this to you, Lawrence. I'm going to grow the screen a little bit here so you can see it better. This is separation versus cushion. Okay. So
you never want to be bottom left.
You never want to be bottom left. That's the
worst.
Every single corner in the NFL is a yard off of a 49er receiver. There's no cushion before the play is even snapped. No one in football thinks a single 49er wide receiver is going to get behind them. No one.
Because they can't run.
And that, to me, is as much of a reason why this year is going nowhere quickly as any of it. But it's not just that. It's not just separation. It's also the fact that This team forgot
Well,
how
look
to
who's got the
tackle.
biggest cushion. Look who's got the biggest cushion.
What do you know?
Detroit with Amon Ra and
Rams right there.
Jameson Williams, who runs super fast, and
Mhm.
Jacksonville with Brian Thomas, who's just unbelievably awesome, and the Rams, who have Tutu Atwell. You know what I mean? I mean, these teams
Right.
are getting
And look,
separated.
here's the Falcons' interesting offense right here. Ravens up here. Again, you can get away with being, sort of in the middle of it if you make good choices. That's why the Chiefs are having success right here. You can also live in the middle and not thrive at all, just like the New Orleans Saints right here. But there you go, Lair. There's an awful lot of data points that suggest not this year. I mean, I'll agree with you. It is stunning, though, how quickly it all shifted from us thinking, how are they going to cobble this together? What is the spackle that they will eventually use to fit these bricks together and build this wall? And we were very much through the first dozen weeks here trying to, find the optimism in it. And now it's a ton of bricks of reality of too slow. Coach is having a bad year. Team's having a bad year. You got injury concerns. What makes it even more frustrating is the entirety of the NFC West is a yawn, and you still can't even get through the yawn of your own division right now. Just a very, very frustrating year. This is when you back on Monday's show, when you said something to the effect that, Kyle is so burnt out, you wouldn't be surprised if he just said, I've been thinking about that since you said that. Because you and I have not talked like that at all. You and I are very much in the Kyle is his job security has not wavered a smidgen this year. He is the 49ers' next head coach next year. Anyone who's doing the Kyle needs to be fired video is just wasting your fucking time. Kyle is not going to be fired 1 billion%. Write it down, sell your children. It's the truth. He's not going to be fired. Full stop, period. Have I made myself clear? But if he were to walk away, if he were to seriously just say, I'm done, I'm just too much, I'm out, then what would you do next? I did a segment on that. To me, it's out there, Larry.
Well, it's all these things are more nuanced than that. It's not as simple as he's going to be fired. It's like they're not going to fire him, but they could want to change the structure, and he could push back on that change. So, the last great coach they had, they mutually parted ways with. I'm not saying they're going to mutually part ways with Kyle, but what if they came to him and said, hey, you know what? You guys have missed on too many number ones. Let's change the process. Let's get in a draft consultant. Let's take some of the decision making of the personnel away from the head coach and put it more on the scouting department, and let's have a different kind of a structure. And he could be like, no, I don't want that. If I'm going to cook the meal, I want to be able to shop for the groceries, the old Bill Parcells line. And no. And then there could be a mutual parting of the ways, or they could say, hey, you know what? Fire the special teams coach and fire Sorensen. And he may say, no, I like Sorensen. I mean, he's telling us, I like Sorensen. I like Schneider. So if somebody in the ownership is like, hey, those guys aren't getting it done, fire them. And he's like, no, I don't want to fire them. Then he might walk away. And there's people going, well, oh my God, he wouldn't walk away from all this money. He's not walking away from any money because the next deal that he signs will be bigger than the deal that he's got here. So there's no risk. There's no risk for Kyle. Kyle's going to be a coveted commodity no matter where, right, whether it's here or elsewhere. He's going to get paid. So it's all about just the ownership of the Niners after the failure of the year say, hey, we want to do things this way. And does he see it the same way? And do they communicate together? Or do they try to kind of put, conditions on things? And he says, you know what? Screw you. You guys had Jim Tomsula and Chip Kelly, and you're going to put conditions on me? No, I'm walking. So I think there's, this thing could be more volatile than you think.
If it were like, Kyle's got some, demons that he's got to deal with or whatever it is. But, Kyle's in no position after this season to be giving ownership any ultimatums. You know,
No, he actually is, because it's all ultimately about who holds the leverage. And he probably holds the leverage on them more than they hold the leverage on him. So I would kind of disagree. I think he's got leverage. It's just about leverage. It's like, just if nobody wants Kyle, then they have the leverage. If everybody in the league wants Kyle, then he has all the leverage. He's got most of the leverage. I don't think everybody in the league wants him. But Damon, I think it's safe to say that if the 49ers cut him loose, there'd be a 5 or 6 team bidding war and he'd get a very handsome contract. So
10 limousines show up outside of Levi Stadium the minute they walk away from Kyle. So I don't think it's happening. But if he were to walk away, and now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the 49ers need a new head coach, here's my criteria. I want a guy who's already won it all. I want a guy who's groomed a successful quarterback. I want someone who's got a keen defensive mind and the confidence to hire the right staff around him. I want no-nonsense, motivated guy who sees special teams as a point of emphasis, not to just, see what happens. We don't really care about it. I want someone who's now officially got a little chip on his shoulder and something to prove because he feels like he was a little slighted. I want someone who's just been through a year of, hey, maybe the media is going to be a little bit easier for him because he's just been a part of it. All roads lead to Bill Belichick. In my mind, all roads lead to Bill Belichick if there were to be a coaching change. And I don't care anymore about age. This isn't some 6 to 8 year plan if you were to move on. You need to win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years. We're talking Bill Belichick is 72 years old, 3-year deal. Bill Belichick, bring him in, see what he does, pay him $50 million a year. I don't give a shit. Try it with somebody who knows how to cross the finish line in first place after bumping into it with Kyle after all these years. I don't want, a Ben Johnson. I don't want, Doug Peterson or Rex Ryan. I don't want Cliff Kingsbury. I don't want Todd Monken, the guy from the Ravens, their offensive coordinator.
Let me throw you a name. Okay, if you're going to win the Super Bowl in the NFL, who do you have to go through?
You got to go through the Chiefs or the Ravens?
Chiefs. You got to go through the Chiefs. And to me, you're not beating Kansas City unless you get on their level or you tear them down to the rest of the rest of the level of the rest of the teams. And right now they've got the best offensive mind, the best quarterback, maybe if not the best, close to the best defensive coordinator and the best special teams coordinator. So they really have the best structure of any team in pro football. I might start with Spags. Now, I realize it didn't work for Spags last time, but if I was going to move off of Shanahan, I would probably, if it was me right now, I would probably, Ben Johnson is a great name, but he's very young.
I don't want anyone who's ever done it before. The last thing the 49ers need is another first-timer. Yeah. Last thing the Niners need is another first-timer.
That's a risk. He's very young. He's talented, but look at their personnel on offense. Best line, great speed, great backs, great tight end. You could argue that their success on offense is personnel-based, not necessarily scheme-based. That being said, I do like his red zone plays. But you take Spags away from Kansas City, now you're hurting their D. He's a great defensive coordinator, and I think that's proven. Now you're better on defense yourself. They're getting worse on defense, most likely for losing Spags. I guess I'd have to know what offensive mind Spags would have with him. But if Spags could bring a great, young, innovative offensive mind that I liked, at least I'm now deconstructing their awesome castle, right? Before you're going to be the king of the kingdom, you got to destroy the other team's castle. It's literally, you're not going to win unless you can get good and make them tear them down. And you're not getting Mahomes, and Reed's too old. Tal, has had head coaching interviews, but I think that's come and gone. Spags is kind of in the same mode. He's kind of, I heard a couple people say today, oh, Spags doesn't want to be a head coach. But no. Spags made it clear during Super Bowl week last year that he does want to be a head coach again. And so that's the name that would intrigue me the most. get Spags, find out if Spags could bring in I don't know if he'd bring in Nagy or Bieniemy, or if a young offensive coordinator, that's really great could be brought in. But if I'm moving off of Shanahan, and I'm not, but if I was, that's where I'm going. I'm going Spags over Belichick. Belichick is 75 years old. I mean, Belichick's an older guy at this point. I mean, they're both older, but I mean, I don't know. Belichick seems to me
he's 72. Here's the thing about Belichick, though.
He's a hero no matter what.
Here's what makes me not worry about Belichick is I've been watching him with Pat McAfee. I've been watching him on Inside the NFL, and I've been watching him on the Manning Cast, and he is, forget about being sharp as attack. I think there is a serious argument to be made that there's never been a human being on planet Earth who had more football knowledge than Bill Belichick has.
I know people who have worked with Bill. The guy that I worked with in the Canadian League, the late great Bill Urbanek, used to work with Gunther Cunningham, Dave Adolph.
Gunther Cunningham, there's an old name.
Al Groh. These guys all worked together with Belichick at different times, at different points in Cleveland and other spots. And, Billy used to say to me, Bill Urbanek was a great defensive coach. He coached the Bengals defensive line in Super Bowl 23 under Sam Weish. But he told me that Bill Belichick and the Steelers, remember the Steelers long time, what's his name? Steelers defensive coach, Dick LeBeau. He said Dick LeBeau and Bill Belichick were the greatest defensive backfield coaches. Some people say George Seifert, some people say Ray Rhodes, some people say Bud Carson, but Bill Belichick is as good a defensive backfield coach as there's ever been. And Billy said that the guys that he worked with, Belichick, said that he was a genius, that he was just mentally had unbelievable mental horsepower. He was the key on those New York Giants teams in the mid 80s that slowed down Jerry Rice and his heyday. It was, and they did it with guys like with Mark Collins and guys that were not superstar corners, but they just played technique. They were tough. They were well drilled. They were coached, and they slowed down Jerry on a couple of those days. And, you got to credit Belichick for a lot of that.
Someone's in here saying Holmgren. Mike Holmgren hasn't coached a game since 2008. Stop it.
Mike Holmgren is a grandfather.
He's like selling banana nut muffins with his wife. He opened a donut shop. I'm not even joking. Like, I think he opened a bakery. So I don't think Mike Holmgren.
I just talked to Holmgren last year. He's doing great. He's not looking to come back.
Yeah, no, that's a happy millionaire.
Young man's
NFL in life anymore.
The hours are endless.
Yeah, no, they are. But speaking of endless, show the endless deliciousness down at Sam's Chowder House. Hey, everybody, welcome to Wake Up. It's great to have you here as always. Give us thumbs up on both of our channels. Like and subscribe to The Krueger Show, to Damon Bruce Plus. And how could you not like and subscribe to Sam's Chowder House, our sponsor, our benefactor? And let me tell you, guess who doesn't want to be cooking another huge meal next week? That's who's ever cooking Thanksgiving dinner this week. By the time your leftovers run out, make a plan to get down to Sam's Chowder House, a beautiful drive down the 1 to Half Moon Bay or up the 1, depending on wherever you're coming from. You cannot do more right by your Thanksgiving chef than taking him or her out to Sam's Chowder House so they're not cooking another big meal next week. Thanks to everyone who is going to be pulling overtime duty in the kitchen starting tomorrow. I mean, Thanksgiving dinner starts being prepared on Wednesdays. So big fun time coming up with friends and family. And we wish all of you the happiest of Thanksgivings. Obviously, it's a great NFL day. It's just our favorite holiday. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone for sure. Larry, I see we got a lot of supers. We haven't gotten to any of them outside of the big Rob C-Note super. So should we should we go ahead and hop in?
Ray Rogers. If the Niners don't address the O-line and D-line with all the first 3 picks, I'm out for next year. 3 emoji faces from Ray Rogers. There you go. Chris B's in the house. He says, is Juice someone the Niners can get rid of next season? Let me think about that. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought about it.
they don't. Here's the thing: do you need a fullback when you're not running power and you're hardly putting him out there? It's stupid.
Yeah, you don't need just I mean, he's a good football player, but it's not
Right.
worth the money.
Right.
What he contributes is not worth what they pay him.
I'm more
Fuji
interested in
Simeon,
his wife's coats at this
there you
point.
go. For yourself or for your wife?
For everyone, Larry.
Okay. Fuji Simeon says at least the Giants own Oracle and have Mission Rock, right, Larry? Now the Giants can cut payroll without delay. Larry, get a mic on Black Friday deals.
Snell at the end. We'll answer this, Fuji Simeon, but Snell at the end. We don't want to kill our audience right here.
Fuji Simeon says, Damon, any updates on merch? Rain and snow on Sunday. Yes, lots of rain and wind. Don't forget wind.
Merch is up and available. It has happened. You can get merch on YouTube on my channel. You can get it over on Twitter. So merch it up, and thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
There you go. As my 14-year-old said to me a year ago when he was just 13, he's like, Dad, we've got merch. And I said, yes, we do, son. Yes, we do. It was a great moment for a father and a son where a 13-year-old looked at me and said, Dad, we've got merch. And he said it with pride.
The best is but the best is when I was asking how to do this, and I asked, like, look at it this way. Kevin might be Larry's son, but he's also the de facto executive producer of what I'm doing over here too. He helps an awful lot. And when I asked him, how do I set up merch? He's like, okay, so it would take you about a half an hour, or it would take Jillian like 10 minutes. So have Jillian do it. And he was right about that.
And you'll love it too, because it's nothing, no headaches and very easy. Oli Chaos is pissed at some of your takes with baby right cone, Larry. Sounds like we giving up on Purdy. What the fuck? I'm not giving up on Purdy. Maybe he's giving up on Purdy. I'm not. I'm just saying that I don't know if maybe you caught a different stream. One of the things I've advocated for, and I really believe in this, is the Bill Walsh theory, which is if you want to build your football team quickly, and the Niners are now in that mode where they're behind Detroit and they're behind some of these teams that are younger and better with better players and younger players. The only way to do that is to somehow get a lot of picks. So unless you're going to sell Shanahan for picks or somehow come up, there's no draft lottery in the NFL. So the only way to really get ahead is to, luck into a reclamation project quarterback and then hawk him for picks. Be the smart team that saw the value of Sam Darnold, or be the smart team that saw the bounce back in Baker Mayfield. And all I was saying,
by the way, Larry,
yeah.
Daniel Jones has signed with the Vikings. That happened this morning.
Right.
Guys really like Kevin O'Connell. That's the thing. So,
yeah. So, I mean, that was I'm a believer in Purdy. I absolutely am. And I'm not, if you, any of my takes that you've heard that you thought I wasn't, think again. Grant might not be a big fan of Purdy, and I don't know that he believes in him, but I don't even want to put words in his mouth because he didn't say that necessarily. But that's kind of the sense I get. I'm a big fan of Purdy, but I do see quarterback as being like, if you could get, let's just throw it out there. Look at the Steelers. What did they do? They didn't have a quarterback. They drafted Kenny Pickett. They didn't think he was the guy. They signed Russell. They traded for Justin Fields, and Fields played okay. And now Russell's playing really well, and they've got a good team, and they're going to the playoffs. So all I'm saying is, look at Minnesota, reclamation quarterback. Look at Tampa, reclamation quarterback. You've got Mac Jones. You've got Anthony Richardson. You've got Zach Wilson. You've got a bunch of guys out there. Daniel Jones, reclamation project quarterbacks. All I was saying is I think the Niners ought to really start looking in this area because they might be able to, could you imagine if they had the rights to Sam Darnold right now? They could have traded Sam Darnold for something really good. Or they could have gone with Sam Darnold and traded Brock Purdy for something really good. But if you're going to try to run with the Chiefs and the Lions and the best teams, the Ravens, you're going to have to get some momentum in the draft in the neighborhood of extra picks. And it only is going to come from either selling off Kyle, which I'm not a fan of, or attracting a quarterback whose value is low, building up that value, and selling high.
I mean, look, I won't pretend
done
that
before.
I won't pretend that I wasn't in the re-sign him camp, but knowing what we know now, should have traded Ayuk, should have traded Debo.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, right now, oh my
Like the
God.
Giants should have traded Snell the minute he had a good start, but again, not yet, Larry. We'll say that at the end.
Use Debo for kickoff returns, no holding calls, please. They did that last week, and there was a holding call. We kind of talked about it with Greg. Fuji Simeon, Papa making Larry move like a high school jock, LOL. What is the KMBR studio? And he is doing a show on KMBR. So I probably needed to move. Fuji, and I usually set up in the control room. I just happened to be in the other room because I was tired of the bad backdrop. I was trying to give you guys a better backdrop. Fuji Simeon says, Greg Papa live from a Bills tailgate pregame. See him jumping onto tables and taking shots from a bowling ball and the ketchup mustard baptism. LOL. Very funny. Very funny. Rob C, once again, thank you for the 104.5. Something tells me that has something to do with the bone or with K-Fog. I just got here. What the hell? Never mind. I thought Larry got new lighting. I see what happened now. Well, Rob, if you're ever confused again, feel free to send $104 our way. Space Cowboys, and thank you, sir. Space Cowboys says D-line will get pushed 2 yards downfield. The Bills' O-line will be free on the second level. Brendel will be pushed around. Can't contain the edge. How can CMC hit top speed when other teams' linebackers can plug gaps? It's real true.
Well, it's all, I mean, look, it is all connected. There's no doubt. It is all connected. But I still want to see Mason and Garendo, and I don't care how comfortable Kyle is with Christian McCaffrey out there. He's making bad decisions that are going to cause his team to lose football games. And I can see it, and I think we all can see it. And I know that Kyle knows
it
more
doesn't
than I do,
have
but
to be
he got this one wrong.
It doesn't have to be an either or. It can be both.
Right.
I've seen it done before. It's
right.
It's been done before. Teams using 3 backs. Yes, it's been done.
Yeah.
Space Cowboy. Only the Cabo guys.
Not only has it been done before, it was so commonplace that the concept of having a highly paid bell cow running back was almost drummed out of the league entirely. So that's how common it is.
Fuji Simeon says so much for the holiday spirit. Mayfield is suing his dad and brother for taking his money. Also, run the ball. Use multiple running backs and keep Allen off the field. Thank you.
Dude, Baker Mayfield's getting Britney'd by his own parents.
Yeah, that story is pretty bad.
I haven't even seen it. That's terrible.
It's a heartwarming Thanksgiving story about greed and families. Nathan McFadden says, could Jalen Moore get reps at right tackle and move McKivitz to guard? Seriously, after the way Jalen Moore played last week, I think I would play him at right tackle. He's a bigger bodied guy than McKivitz. They love McKivitz, though. Can't get right. FYI, Purdy lost to the Rams and the Cardinals already. Thank you. We were aware. Yo Stricken, Debo and IU contracts hurt bad this year, no doubt. And
don't forget Hargrave.
Family and Fun says 23. That's McCaffrey was our best shot at Super Bowl. Great coaches / team. And we also have Yo Stricken, who's back with this one. As a Dodger fan, no salary cap is utter garbage. LOL. What? Now you're mad that there's no salary cap and your team's spending all the money. What really killed the Giants is when Shohei took the $700 million deferred. And so now they have all this money. I mean, it was genius on his part, but
Snell deferred money in this deal. This whole this deferred money, no salary cap world cannot coexist. Like, you got to pay to play. I mean, this deferred money bullshit is going to be part of the ruin of Major League Baseball, but Major League Baseball is partly ruining itself. I'll just say this: the Dodgers just added Blake Snell, and they're going to be adding Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher. And I mean, it's embarrassing. You can give next year's World Series to the Dodgers right now again. Wait until they sign Juan Soto.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I understand the people who make the argument that dynasties and great teams are good for sports, okay? And I've heard that. And I've heard people try to make the argument that somehow the Dodgers getting all these players, Blake Snell, maybe getting Juan Soto, is really great for the MLB because they're great teams, and great teams attract casual fans. But at the core of sports is some degree of fairness. It's why the NFL works. It's why the draft in all sports works. It's very basic. It's like the best team gets the worst pick. The worst team gets the best pick. It's an equalizing mechanism within the sport that that works. And if you take it out or interrupt that rhythm, then you get James Wiseman on the Warriors, and it just doesn't work, right? Everything doesn't work. And you get these two timelines, and that just doesn't, it's not the way it should be. Well, now you've got this situation where you've got this great team, but you still have to, it works if there's like 3 or 4 great teams. I don't know if it works if there's just like one dominating team. Then it's like it works for did the KD Warriors work for the NBA? It did, and it worked for the Warriors, but it rendered the entire conversation about who's going to win it all moot for too long. And I don't think that's good. And I don't think that's good in any sport. It was great to enjoy it as a Warrior fan, but it was a guilty pleasure because you knew everybody else was like locked out of a party that you were, having drinks.
Having said all that, I think it was the highest rated, era of NBA TV ratings. So the league did enjoy it. And basketball is a little different than baseball. It really is. It's just, baseball was never set up to be fair. There's no symmetry in baseball. There never has been. Not the field of play isn't even the same city to city. Outfield walls make ballparks different. There's nothing equitable or symmetrical.
Well, be the same to be fair. I mean, the ballparks don't have to have the same dimensions to be fair. But you're right. Baseball, as long as baseball has existed, has had these inequities between the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals, or the New York Yankees and the Kansas City A's. I mean, Roger Maris didn't start as a Yankee, and there's lots of great Yankees that didn't start as Yankees, and then they found their way to the Yankees. And I understand the argument for great teams, but if you don't have, I don't know, if you don't have basic fairness in your competition, Billy Beane said it best. MLB, whether you like it or not, the best thing that could be said, the most accurate thing that could be said, it's a stacked card game. And it really is. I mean, you might win. It's like you might win against the casino when you're playing 21, but it's a stacked card game for the house.
Right. You can absolutely catch the last card you need on the river for your straight or inside flush. But every other team is sitting down with hold cards that are, 2 queens, 2 kings, 2 aces. They got bullets, and you are sitting there with 3-6 offset. Yeah, it could absolutely be a winning hand in a flush for you, but the odds are way in the other guy's favor before the next card is even dealt. So, that's what it is. By the way, just how do you make it all worse? How could it possibly be made all worse?
How?
What if Farhan takes a job with the Dodgers? It's like some consultant or assistant or something like that. Let Farhan go work for the Dodgers.
I actually think that in some weird way that the Snell deal, my Giant fan friend for Krueger, what's your take on Snell to the Dodgers? I don't mind it. One, I don't think when Snell stopped, wouldn't pitch the final weekend for the Giants, screw him. He's always been about himself. And also, I kind of think that the only way that the Dodgers are ever going to get burned is if they somehow go for, big money deals on some pitchers that are out for the year, because pitchers are fragile and they can be out for the year. So I don't think I would, if I'm glad the Giants didn't sign him to that contract. It is a little, upsetting that he goes to LA because they're the best team and they just get better. But overall, it doesn't. I didn't like Blake Snell as a guy. I didn't like his interviews.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of players using the Giants. It's time the Giants use some of these players. And the fact that they did not trade Snell.
Oh, I know. Well,
every single indicator was you're not, even if you did get in, you ain't fucking special.
I mean, Damon, think about it. If they had traded Gosman, Bumgarner, Rodon, and Snell for prospects, they would probably have half a roster of big-time prospects ready to, make an impact.
Just one. I don't need half a roster. If you had turned,
that's what you would have had.
If you had taken any single one of those assets and turned them into one dude, it would be better than them all walking away for absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Let's finish up here. I got to get downstairs. Fujisimi says Shohei wanted to defer all of it and play for free. Yeah, great. And we got this one from Moncrine Eggcorn. If we sit Purdy for Buffalo, what is the plan for Greenlaw? He's not playing this week for sure. He might play against Chicago.
Here's the thing. You want to talk about we're not going to need your service. I would just tell Dre Greenlaw at this point, if we're not playing for actual playoff games, we're going to see you in week 1 next year. You'd be ready to go week 1. I would not bring Dre Greenlaw into a going nowhere fast situation.
But he's going to want to play. He's a free agent. He's going to want to play. Can't Get Right says no one is stopping the other major league owners to spend money. That's true. There's no cap for them. Yo Stricken says that's what I meant. No cap means no parity. It's bad. Fuji Simeon, thanks for the shrimp cocktail recipe, Larry. Looking at the merch now, Damon and Larry for holiday shopping. Damon, thoughts on IU's ranking?
Hey, number 10, I like the path. We can beat Penn State. Yeah, sure. Why not? I just wanted them to still be in it. They're still in it to win it. By the way, here's the deal of the year, Larry. If you had taken Indiana, if you had taken Indiana at the beginning of the year and you bet on them in Vegas to just reach the college football playoffs, they were going off at like 22,000 to 1.
Wow. Hey, I got to run downstairs for the Kyle Presser, so we're going to call it right here.
We let everyone know we are not going to be back on Friday. I got the boys home. We're going to take the day off. Larry, you've been burning it at both ends severely, so you take the day off on Friday. Don't do any bullshit. Yeah, I woke up and did a show with someone else. If we're taking the day off, really take the day off.
I'll take it off.
You take it off. You deserve it for all your work. And to you, to Kev, to Amy, to all Krugers, a very happy Thanksgiving. To those in your audience who are not in my audience, happy Thanksgiving to you and all your families. I really hope it's a great, great holiday and everyone travels safe and eats well and is good to each other. Thank you so much for watching. We're now over 26,000 subscribers. I'm so thankful for that. Larry, you've been a huge, huge help and a guiding hand for me over here on YouTube, as has Kevin. And I want to thank the both of you. Seriously, I'm very, very thankful that I've got you guys in my life, helping me reestablish my life over here. So thank you very, very much to everyone and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I'll just tell you right now, I took green bean casserole in the draft that Damon did years ago. That was a red light. That was a red light for everyone. And you can tell that my love of green bean casserole is why Aiden Hutchinson ended up in Detroit.
It's a tradition in the Balky family that we only buy turkeys that have torn ACLs.